I'm out. Yes, sir.
We've heard several times different reports say this is the beginning of the end of this siege. Do you all in the FBI see it this way, and also especially in light of the possibility of suicide?
Question is, do we believe it's the beginning of the end? We believe, of course it is. Every step we've taken, we believe, is part of this compacting, narrowing their control, their sphere of control to bring this to an end. Is this a step up in that? Obviously, we have a step up in pressure that's taking place. Is suicide a possibility? We thought that this was probably the best way to prevent that type of suicide pact from taking place. That is, caused confusion inside the compound. Also, we thought that their instincts, the motherly instincts would take place, and that they would want their children out of that environment. It appears they don't care that much about their children, which is unfortunate. We have continually quizzed those coming out, and they as a general rule state that suicide, they believe, is not a possibility. Yes, sir.
And one of the first things that I had heard with regard to narrowly or to slowly bring the compound into them was the concern that we heard reported later about some of the disagreements within the law enforcement personnel, that you're actually destroying crime scene. How would you respond to that?
Question is with regard to the destruction of a crime scene. If you notice what occurred here yesterday on the removal of the vehicles, what we did was we had various tanks that actually attached towing mechanisms to these vehicles, and they were pulled out. In no way were they destroyed. This was a key portion of the shooting scene, the bullets that are contained in these vehicles. Those vehicles were in fact removed with no destruction attached to those vehicles.
And can you tell us what happened to the man who came out of the compound, appeared to raise his hands and then come out?
That was with regard to the telephone line. The man that came out, again, the banner was there. We broadcast over the PA system that we had, please come out, retrieve the previous phone line that they had thrown out, attach it back to a phone and see if that will function. I have not had a report yet as to whether that will function. Yes?
Two questions. One, there was a man seen coming out yesterday in the evening after 7 o'clock, picked up a box and went back in. Can you tell us what that was?
Yesterday evening, as part of the negotiating process, which we've continued to maintain a dialogue with them, Judy Snyder said that she's typing up the 7 seals, and that it would help if she had typewriter ribbon. So we delivered typewriter ribbon. We also gave some more milk for the children. So that's what you saw yesterday evening. Yes, ma'am.
The second question, as you are knocking holes into the sides of the building, are you actually trying to confine them into smaller and smaller areas of the compound?
Question is, would we be trying to put them in smaller and smaller areas? Obviously, as we put it in, we're trying to take away certain portions of the compound from them. You can't say it's necessarily in smaller areas, except we would like to influence the areas where they are actually able to reside. Yes, sir.
What information do you have about their ability to go underground, so to speak, to avoid this gas? How long could they last underground if, in fact, they can go down there? And a follow-up.
Question is, how long could they last if they do go underground? We have had a number of intelligence reports that they do have an underground tunneling system. There's no doubt about that. Some of those have been greatly exaggerated. Primarily, we believe they have crawl space. In the area right here, they have buried a bus, which I think most people know about. This is also a series of underground tunnels in this area. We believe many of those, however, are non-functional. Many of those areas, because of the recent rains, have been flooded out. Information is that they've been dumping a lot of their human waste in that particular area, too. We believe that there probably is crawl space underneath the compound, but gas will permeate those areas as well. So again, we're not anticipating they're all going to flow out at any second right now, but we will continue to apply the pressure. We will try to make their living environment as uncomfortable as possible.
Follow-up?
Yes.
You're saying that the attorney's efforts were a fiasco. If that's the case, what further involvement will you allow them to have? Will they be able to contact their clients, or will you just cut them out of this at this point?
Question is, what would their involvement be? The only involvement that they would have would be as part of a final settlement. And that offer has always been there. If they agreed to a final surrender and they needed their attorney there, that still might be negotiated. At this point, we're not negotiating. We're saying come out. Come out with your hands up. This matter is over. Yes.
The gas, can you provide us with some type of scenario of what impact or effect this gas has on them as they lurk in there?
The gas supplies a number of irritants to the nostrils, to the eyes, to the skin. Just touching to the skin can be extremely painful. It is non-lethal, but it causes extreme discomfort. You can have certain symptoms of nausea. You can have certain symptoms of inflammation with regard to the membranes. So it is extremely uncomfortable. They do have gas masks. So a substantial majority of those symptoms at this point they're able to protect against.
Okay,
follow up.
Do you have any intent of knocking down walls? That was the appearance this morning, that these were going in, knocking down walls. Is that
right.
The strategy at this point?
Part of the strategy at this point is to make sure that we have a complete insertion of the gassing systems. So in some cases we were barely entering into a window, and other cases we were trying to reach hallways and other areas so we could properly disperse the gases involved. Yes, ma'am.
How many times have you battered the buildings, and how much gas do you think you put in already?
Question is, how many times have we battered the buildings? Because I left to come here at 10 o'clock, the best estimate that I had was 11 to 12 times. I can't tell you precisely. I wish that I could, because I don't know exactly what has transpired in the interim. But I cannot give you with certainty the amount of gas that's been put in there. But it has been quite substantial. Yes, sir.
Are you surprised no one has left the compound after you've opened up the walls?
Question is, am I surprised? Truthfully, I'm not surprised. I think you have a totally fanatical, committed group to David Koresh. We believe that there's a hardcore group. They're all heavily armed. They're all firing at our vehicles when they do appear. Those who are weak, we believe that they're surrounded with firearms and probably are not being allowed to leave. Those who are totally loyal to Koresh, it's going to have to require extreme discomfort, we believe, and probably a signal from Mr. Koresh that now is the time to get out of here. Yes.
Can you show us where on the map you inserted the gas?
Well, I can't show you all because we have virtually surrounded. This morning at approximately 6 o'clock, 5 minutes after we called Mr. Snyder, we had our CEV in position. The first place we entered was here on this side of the building, which is basically on the westerly side of the building. We turned around, we came back, and we also punched a hole in here and made also an insertion. You have seen during the day, though, we have been making insertions all the way around the compound. The latest one was right through the front door. This door, as you saw by what was there, was heavily barricaded. They have been preparing for an assault for a long time. They have been barricading throughout the tower. They've been putting various reinforcements. They've been building the whole time, preparing for an assault. Yes, sir.
What's your understanding of the integrity of the building? Are you afraid that if you knock down pieces by pieces, some parts will collapse, or some structural integrity of the building?
The question is, what about the structural integrity of the building? We believe it is poorly constructed. And if we wanted to knock the building down, we probably could do it in less than an hour if we desire to do so. As you can see by the pictures, that is massive strength by that CEV. That is an extremely large, powerful vehicle. All you're seeing there being demonstrated is actually the power of the boom. You have not seen the power that can be demonstrated by the vehicle itself. Yes.
And follow up. Is that the plan then, to knock down the building?
Is there a plan to knock down the building? As far as I know, there's no plan in effect at this point to knock down the building. Yes, sir.